You see, my problem is, from childhood, I've always questioned my surroundings. I've always questioned events that I've seen unfold. I've always questioned anything that was told to me from a historical perspective. I didn't just accept it. And that is why, even today, everything that I see must be broken down and analyzed. I see things from an analytical perspective. That's me. That is the way of the Nimrodan. Now, to show you how having that type of a mindset has come in handy in my life, let's look at the Bible. Without even going into a great deal of detail, the first thing I'm going to tell you about the Bible, the first chapter, you see Genesis. Me? I see genes of Isis. Why? Because, again, my sign, fish. The story of the fish. The story of the fish starts off with you saying about Jesus Christ and the fish and all that, but you have to know the story of Nimrod, and then it will take you into the fish. Then you have to know the story of Semiramis, her son Tammuz, and then you will look at the Isis, Horus, and Osiris story. See what I'm saying? And that will take you into a whole nother dynamic again. And then this will also take you into the first Immaculate Conception. See, I'm gonna get deep with you, man, but you got to hang with me, because what I'm about to unravel is heavy. But first, you say Amen. You say Amen after prayer. Why? What does the word Amen mean? Oh, you'll find some people that have come up with all these creative explanations that have no factual scientific basis whatsoever. Believe me. But it's what you say at the closing. And it is praise. It is praise to the one that you are saluting. When you say that at the closing of the prayer, you're obviously calling out the name of whoever it is you're praying to. Believe it or not, Amen means the unseen God, or the unseen presence. And that was the name that was derived from Amun-Ra, which means God of the sun. See that? Ra, Ray, sun ray, Ray. Ray, Ra, sun. Keep that in mind. Amun. Amun was the name of the pharaoh at that time that was uniting the upper and lower dynasties of Kemet to today called Egypt. In his temple, when they came to have audience with the pharaoh, they had to speak to the high priest, and the high priest became the intermediary that spoke to Amun. Does it sound familiar? It should, because it's the same setup in the Catholic Church. You go to see, you want to say a prayer to God, and who's the intermediary? The Catholic priest. He'll tell you the way to God is through me. Again, they bit off the Middle Eastern concept of worship. These Europeans don't have nothing that's originally theirs except their reputation for destruction. Alright? The story of Moses never happened, of course. And Moses really means those reeds that move about in the water. Whole nother story. Not gonna touch it. Exodus, bogus. The Hyksos, some people that looked like current day European whites who were driven out of Egypt back in the day towards the Caucasus Mountains, hence the name Caucasian, because the Caucasoids reverted to a beast-like state. And then, of course, those that drove them up into the mountains had to come and civilize them. Us. At that time, we were called Moors, we were called priests, several different names. Of course, when the Moors were driven out of Europe, what happened? It fell into the Dark Ages. They reverted again back to a lower state of mind. Black man has got to be present to watch over his children. You feel me? I can go into some things in the Bible that will blow your mind. Ezekiel, Astrology, man. It's nothing but astrology. Look at the symbols, descriptions of what they are, and you'll notice that it's always about a wheel within a wheel. Anytime you go and look at the zodiac, what do you see? You see the big wheel, the symbols and the signs, then a smaller wheel within with more symbols. Wheel within a wheel. It's simple. The Bible, the name. Holy, Helios, meaning the sun. Biblios, the book. Holy Bible, sun book. Look, like I said, I ain't no incredible dude. I just analyze things, man. Just imagine if schools really taught, educated, not indoctrinated, not socialized, not conditioned minds, but actually fed true information. It's impossible. Why? Because black people were walking with their heads up high, white people were walking with their heads down. Why? Because back in the 15th, 14th, 13th century, white people only took a bath one time a year. You could smell them a mile away. They were filthy people. The castles had no running water, no plumbing system whatsoever. They did not develop a plumbing system until blacks again came into Europe and started to show them how to develop that. In Rome and Greece, they went to the Middle East, they went to Egypt, they went to Ghana, they went to Ethiopia, they went to Timbuktu, and they saw the running water systems, copied the design, and went back to Rome and Greece and started to build their aqueducts. See, I mean, it's so deep, man. It's just so deep that we don't even know who we are. We don't know the power that we wield in our minds, because right now we are shackled gods who have been told that we are demons. We have been brought down. Again, I'm a gatekeeper. I'm trying to unlock those who are under the spell of King Gu, Hotep. I want to drop some science on you. I really do. I really do. But I can't be who I am unless the mind is willing to absorb the knowledge that I'm about to bring forth. You ever hear somebody say, yeah, if you're so smart, you know so much, you should have been a millionaire? Don't fall for the hype. They do know who I am, and they know what I'm capable of. They've tried to destroy me since public school. They've turned my family against me. They've turned my friends against me. Trust me. Knowledge is something else, man, but it's also a scary thing. And some people aren't ready to deal with it. You feel me? They're not ready for it. This is the Nimrodon Zero. It ain't about money, bruh. It's about freeing up your mind. When your mind is free, you realize that money, wealth, it's all an illusion and means nothing if you don't have your health. Peep that. Once your mind is clear and your body is strong, you can make your reality what you wish it to be. You don't need Hollywood for that. I could tell you about Hollywood and how they make all your dreams a reality through illusions. Through illusions. What's the value of a diamond really to the average man? It has no value. It's just a shiny little rock, but people crave it. Why? Because of the status that has been attached to it. You wear name brand clothes. Hence the word name brand, because somebody's name is branded on it, whether it's with ink or stitching. You wear somebody else's name because you have no identity. You wear somebody else's name due to low self-esteem. You wear somebody else's name because you have no pride in your own name. You wear somebody else's name because in reality you don't even know your true name. Peep the game. That's how they got you caught up, assigning false value to things that are worthless. You hand me a diamond, what can I really do with it? If I'm not into some type of machinery or mechanics or something of that application, it has no value to me. And I'm not going to pay ridiculous sums of money that I've labored for to acquire a small bauble that just blinks nicely. That's the trap they catch us with our women. Like little monkeys and little birds, we like shiny little things. It's a game. Put the money where it's really valuable. Buy some real estate, own some property. Trick bag there too. You can't really own anything, because if you do your research, you're gonna find out that what? The United States government, which is a corporation that is defunct. That's why the United States is going down the tubes right now. But the United States is a corporation that is owned lock, stock, and barrel by England. Oh, you mean that war they had back in the day? The war that they had with England, the United States, I hate to tell you this, they never won. It's just that Europe pulled back and said we're gonna hold off on this. But the United States of America was never actually freed from European control, and the same aristocratic families, the blue bloods that ran Europe back in the day, still run it today, still control America today. And if I ran down the pedigree of all these people, you see that they were all related. Whether it's the Bush family, the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, I could go on and on, man. The Kennedys, you know, that's new money. Their father was a liquor runner, and he basically funded enough money for the Kennedys to get in the house, and what happened? All the sons got wiped out. So they don't even count. What's his name there? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, his father was a Rockefeller, even though he was a bastard son, but he still got family money. Don't let these folks fool you, man. They might look like the faces change. Barack Obama, his mother is a Bush. His father was an African diplomat. Remember what I said? Water seeks its own level. But he's not just some fly-by-night. Colin Powell, Barack's cousin. Dick Cheney, Barack's cousin. See what I'm saying? They're all family. Even when the color changes, the blood is still the same. So don't fall for the hype. You feel me? Like I said, man, once you know what's going on around you, man, all these illusions don't fool you. This is going to be the new world order. They're going to start mobilizing military troops into major cities pretty soon. As a matter of fact, I think Barack probably signed a bill this month. Look, I'm telling you, it's about to go down. Codex Alimentarius bill, it was signed like 8 months ago. They're going to start controlling the amount of nutritional content that goes into food, which means that if you look at a piece of vegetable matter that used to give you X amount of protein, nutrients, and minerals, well, now it's giving you X minus 10. See what I'm saying? You're getting less nutrition. So you'll eat a big bowl of food and still feel hungry. Don't think they can control the amount of nourishment that goes into food matter? Don't fool yourself, man. It's against the law to sell raw milk. Why? Because the milk hasn't been processed and they haven't been able to tamper with it. That's why it's against the law. Because they got to put what they want in it. Just like it's against the law now to have a small vegetable garden in your yard. It's against the law. You can be locked up for growing vegetables. They want to control everything. All phone calls are monitored. Every phone call, whether you're on the internet, whether you on a regular phone, landline, Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. There are 3 major computer systems in 3 different parts of the earth that monitor every bit of conversation that takes place. You hearing what I'm saying? Every bit of conversation that takes place in the air, on the ground, or in between. Doesn't matter what medium, what electrical medium you use, they're listening in. The only way is if you drop everything you have and walk away. And if you really want to have a private conversation on your phone, you got to take the battery out and wait 5 minutes. This is no joke. You got to take the battery out, wait 5 minutes. Your television, while you're watching it, remember now, we went from analog signal to digital. So, just as easily as you receive a signal could be sent out. Because now it's a transceiver. It's no longer just a receiver, it's a transceiver. And it's working on digital frequencies, which move back and forth. Analog went in one direction. I'm trying to tell you, everything is for a reason. That's why they changed the broadcast signal, so you were forced to get rid of your old TV and buy a new one. Because all the new stuff now is chipped. You go and buy something in the store now, it's got a chip hidden in it somewhere. They can track everything you've bought. They can track it to wherever you send it, or wherever you take it, or wherever you have it hidden. They'll find it. Big Brother's here in full effect, man. This is the new world order. Everything you do is monitored. Everything. Pretty soon you won't even need cash, because you'll have the chip in you somewhere that monitors all your financial transactions. As soon as you get paid, the money goes to the chip. You walk in the store, you want to buy something, just pick it up and walk out the store. Transaction is done. As far as personal and private transactions, you may have a problem because, again, like I said, they want to control all transactions. So if you're trying to sell stuff on a back alley somewhere, it's going to become a problem soon. Everything has to be open and public and through business permits, like business license. You require certain devices to make transactions. But we're getting there. These vaccinations, look, man. Medicine is a business. You can't make no money if people don't get sick. So they have to make sure you stay getting sick. When's the last time they cured something? Just think about it. When was the last time they cured something? They cannot cure stuff. It's against the law to cure stuff. Why? Because if you cure something, you can't make money on it no more. Let me tell you something. You really and truly believe that AIDS was a virus that just popped out of nowhere? Again, it's about doing your research, man. I did my research back in 1948. After the war was over, World War was over, some negotiations took place over several years. And part of the negotiations was that the German scientists formed an alliance with the American scientists. And they started to exchange information. And when they started exchanging all this information, it was off the meat rack, because they was also exchanging different viral formulas. One of the formulas the United States got from Germany as part of this alliance agreement was something known as the Vishna virus. The Vishna virus was a virus that affected sheep. It caused them to have something called a wasting syndrome, where they wasted away. They lost their appetite, wouldn't eat, and basically had failure to thrive and died. Well, after Germans gave this virus to the American scientists, they began to tweak the virus, adjust the virus, probe the virus. Pretty soon they were able to create a virus that jumped species. This virus went from sheep to primate. The primate that they were able to incubate with this virus was a rhesus monkey. Rhesus monkey is a very close relative to human beings. They basically are just something like, I think it's like two. Make sure I'm saying this right. I believe it's two. Give me 1 second. Gotta think on this one.
Well, just return it. Returning gifts is easier than ever with priority mail flat rate boxes from the Postal Service. If it fits, it ships anywhere.
Be right back.
Plus, I can pick it up for free. Oh yeah, that's gotta go. Priority mail flat rate shipping starts at just $4.95, only from the Postal Service. A simpler way to ship and return.
Have you heard the news? There's a new way to save money, and you're looking right at it. Your TV. Put down the remote, pick up the phone, and switch to Dish. Prices start at just $19.99 a month. Take a look at what you pay for TV today, and then look at how much you can save for the same channels with Dish. With prices starting at just $19.99 a month, Dish is the best value in entertainment. Call now and get Blockbuster Movie Pass included when you sign up. Let's watch TV. Call Dish now.
There's no right way or a wrong way. Every baby plays by his own rules, and they need a diaper that lets them do it. New Pampers Cruisers with 3-way fit.
Okay, just had to think about that one. My mind goes sometimes. All right.
12 hours of protection for all freedoms of play.
Let me think how to say this.
Pampers, it's time to
Primates
I don't understand. Why would we file a Schedule C? I mean, we're not
basically have just 2 more chromosomes than human beings. I believe it is. I think it's a difference of 2 chromosomes. Just double check that.
Drywall or something. I say if you got it, flaunt it. And you are smoking hot. You gotta show off that butt cake.
You know I've always liked my bun cake.
Great! Now about that hair.
Make us part of your family. Look for dairy brands with their real California seals. That's really me state. Aye, by his grace's goodness, under his protection. Well, Father, come here, if you can.
Yeah, I guess I was right. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Human beings have 46 chromosomes, primates have 48. I just had to make sure of that. I had to go and check just to make sure. But like I was saying, the Vishta virus was able to jump into rhesus monkeys through some tweaking by American scientists. So now the whole idea was to see, and it's sad, I mean it's really sad, but for some reason whenever American scientists get a hold of something, the military has some leverage on them that says, hey, we need you to see if this new discovery can be weaponized. This is no joke. Weaponized. That's their key word anytime there's a discovery. Like they could suddenly decide, hey, we found a way to turn carbon into sugar. Well, let's see if we can weaponize that carbon when it turns into some type of explosive sugar. I mean, it's just crazy, but whatever they do, it's got to be weaponized. This is just me. So basically the scientists said, well, okay, let's see what we can do. And they tweaked it, and they tweaked it. Pretty soon they said, yeah, I think we've got something. We've got a virus here that can enter the body and compromise the immune system and basically wait for a weakness and shut it down. At the first inkling, once the body starts to become weakened, this virus can become so malevolent that it just starts just destroying the human body. And so they had their little creation. At that time it wasn't called AIDS. It wasn't even called human immunodeficiency virus. It was simply just known as Project whatever, Vishnu or whatever. Okay, so the whole idea now is to see how can we mass produce this virus and have it ready for a major event. This is where it gets real interesting. Before I connect the dots, here are some of the things that you've heard. AIDS came out of Africa. Yo, them Haitians, they got AIDS. Yo, I hear the monkeys in Africa got the AIDS virus. That's where they got it from the monkeys. No, they said the Africans that was living in the bush had the AIDS all that time. When they came out the bush, everybody else got it. Yo, homosexuals got AIDS, man. It came from a homosexual that was on a plane, and he was an airline steward, and he was basically having sex everywhere he touched down, and that's how the AIDS came about, because he got AIDS, but who did he get the AIDS from? See, so this is how basically stories got spread. Real talk, I'm gonna connect the dots for you, and then you can see how this really happened. The German scientists and the American scientists formed a little cooperative. They decided to culture the new virus and have it ready again for weaponizing. So what did they do? They bought a piece of real estate in Africa so they could set up a laboratory, a very, what's that word, covert laboratory where nobody knew that they were really there. And then they recruited African lab technicians, or some Africans that just had a basic laboratory background. Several of these Africans were recruited, taken to the laboratory. There was a blueprint for the manufacturing and mass production of this virus. What they did was they broke it into sections. Each African lab tech only had a part of the blueprint, so they only knew to make that section of the AIDS virus. Another one knew to make this part of the AIDS virus. And it sounds like you're putting a toy together, but no, this is the process of inoculating the animals, recovering the serum from the animals, see, culturing some of that serum into several cultured dishes, taking those cultured dishes now and taking that medium, mixing it into flasks with fluid, forming, you know, injectables with it and so forth. I mean, there's a process. And then you need several flasks of the virus that you need to seal and clean, and it's a process. But each of them had a small part of the process. So each one didn't know, and they were kept separate from each other, so they didn't get to conversate. They had several monkeys in the lab that they were using for test purposes that were inoculated with the virus. Now, at the end of the experiment, usually, and this the normal procedure is to, what's that word? You know, euthanize the test subjects. But these monkeys were not euthanized. These monkeys were released back out into the woods. The scientists then took this vaccine that they labeled smallpox vaccine. Yeah, smallpox vaccine. It was given to the World Health Organization. You know them as WHO. WHO went into the interior of Africa to several tribes and inoculated the occupants with said pseudo smallpox vaccine. The pseudo vaccine was spread all over a certain section of Africa. The monkeys ran rampant in another section of Africa. Okay? Yes, and there were a few Europeans that were vaccinated with that AIDS virus. And there was an airplane steward who was among those that got one of those inoculations. So now you see how AIDS was spread. Because when the hunters went into the woods and they hunted monkey meat, they got some of those contaminated monkeys. Some of those monkeys contaminated other monkeys. So many monkeys in the interior jungles of Africa were infected with AIDS through the release of experimental rhesus monkeys. That's one angle. Months later, those people that were inoculated with the smallpox vaccine by World Health Organization, WHO, came down with a debilitating illness that caused what? Hemorrhaging, vomiting, and several other sicknesses, and basically they collapsed and died. Soon thereafter, their loved ones collapsed and died also, and so there was panic. It was hard to connect it to the smallpox at the time because there was no connection made. Some of those Africans did end up coming back to the United States. Some of the people that were a part of the inoculation process inoculated themselves with smallpox also and contracted the disease. There's a lot more to the AIDS virus than just that, but I don't want to go into a lot of detail. You know, but I'm going to break some things down to you about it. Like the testing for AIDS and the symptoms for AIDS differs depending on which geographical location you're in. There is no universal test for AIDS. No one has ever actually isolated an actual AIDS virus. Everything that you see about what the AIDS virus looks like, it has basically been dreamed up. This is what they have put together conceptually. It's a conceptualization of what the AIDS virus looks like. No one has actually found an AIDS virus, because it goes deeper than that. Explanation. The AIDS virus is a virus that only emerges when your immune system is compromised. If you check on any of the people that are victims of AIDS, it's people in parts of Africa that are suffering from what? Poor sanitary conditions, a lack of food. You know what I'm saying? These are areas where your body's already weak. The AIDS virus is not something that attacks healthy people. It attacks people with weakened immune systems. That's the only drawback. All the drug addicts and homosexuals that you see, first of all, most homosexuals are already poppers. They're already drug addicts because of certain things they do to cope with who and what they are. It compromises their immune system. That's why they are put into the same pocket as as IV drug abusers, because most homosexuals are IV drug abusers. See what I'm saying? Or they pop a lot of different pills and combinations, cocktails as they're called them, that compromise the immune system. That's why drug addicts and HIV go like this, because the HIV needs a host body that is compromised. it seldom ever emerges or survives in a healthy host body. Just my 2 cents. Just think of anybody that's gotten the disease and ask them if at any time they took any steroids or if they were taking any regular drugs, because steroids compromise your immune system too. I haven't heard of one healthy individual coming down with AIDS. Everybody, even the ones that look like they were healthy, if you dug into their history, you'd find out that secretly or quietly they were doing drugs and they just didn't want to make it public, and their friends didn't want to put their business on the street. But AIDS seldom ever has been known to affect a completely healthy body. Just putting it out there. But it was manufactured to do what it does. It didn't just happen on the scene. It was a created disease, but it's so elusive. Like I said, they haven't even been able to isolate it, but they can give you a conceptual idea of what it looked like according to what it's supposed to be doing. But interestingly enough, even with all of that, from their conceptual design, it does not have the ability to affect people of Eastern European descent. Did I say that right? Eastern European? East, West. No, I'm sorry. Western. I think it's Western European descent. Well, you know, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed whites that come out of places like Switzerland and far out parts of Dutchland, Germany, and so forth, and the Alps of Sweden, or what have you. Those people, you know, there's something in their gene that does not allow the interlocking process from a genetic perspective, which again tells me it was manufactured to affect black people or people of Middle Eastern descent. So it had to be made in the lab. This isn't just something that just happens. But like I said, disease is a business. Cancer, man, I know of several doctors that can cure cancer, but it's a business. And so those doctors are blacklisted, and they can't work in the public sector. They have to work in the private sector. They have to basically go somewhere far away, like over the border, like in Mexico, and set up shop. I mean, can you imagine that? There have been over 500 scientists. 500 between 1985 and now. There have been over 500 scientists that basically made some type of leap, some type of hurdle that took them to a place where they made a breakthrough, and they found something or some element that could cure cancer, and shortly thereafter they died from a mysterious accident. Like they mysteriously fell and tripped over a gun that wasn't theirs, which basically dislodged, you know, a projectile that just so happened to go right through their brain and kill them instantly at just the right angle. Or guy was found in his bathtub in 1.5 inches of water, and he drowned in 1.5 inches of water in his bathtub, face down. Or there was the guy that accidentally ran off the road due to the strange occurrence of 2 bullets going through his windshield from the back and opening up his skull. But it was ruled as an accident. 500 times these similar occurrences, and nobody's making a connection, nobody's investigating it. And you wonder why this country is so full of serial killers? Yo, this is the Nimrodon Zero, man. I'm out. Alright, before I go, let me say this. Every time those archaeologists, again, do you know that all archaeological digs are basically controlled by the Vatican? What's up with that? You know, the Vatican right now in their basement are holding many discoveries that could truly reveal who we are as black people, what we've done, what we've invented. It would actually, it would even shed light on the Adam and Eve story, which I did start talking about, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Another time. This is the Nimrodon Zero. You are in the lab. I am hoping. You know, if you say something 7 times, it becomes ingrained in your mindset. I am hoping that I have opened up some level of your pineal. I have stimulated some part of your chakra, and there is a spark that is about to light your serpentine fire and destroy the spell of King Gu. Hotep. Manifest your pineal. Nimrodon Zero out.